Hola estudiantes, buenos días, buenas tardes, or buenas noches. ¿Cómo están? Yo estoy muy bien. So we're going to begin week 11 with some vocabulary. You can see that I have on the screen our vocabulary list that we started working with last week. So if you don't have that pulled out already and you printed a copy last week, go ahead and pull that out. It's always nice to have it handy, or have it up on our screen because you may want to refer back to that. And I'm going to switch over to our slides today because what we're going to learn today to get started are the remaining words that we haven't learned yet, the ones for describing classes and classroom activities. So these are words 24 all the way down to 34. And as you look at those words, you'll notice they all have something in common. All right, maybe you're recognizing that now. If not, we're going to talk about that in just a second. I'm going to switch over to my slides here. So we're going to begin 1.1 instruction 1 with palabras 24 to 34. Now, what is it that they all have in common? Well, palabras 24 to 34 son infinitivos, all right? They are infinitives, all right? They all end in the letter AR. Now, you probably remember from a few weeks ago, we learned that an infinitive means to something, all right? To run, to swim, to eat, to watch. Those are all examples of infinitives, ones that you've learned already, because an infinitive is simply the most basic form of a verb. That's why it's always to plus an action. So to run, to swim, to eat, those are all examples of verbs. Or excuse me, they're verbs, but they're all examples of infinitives. In Spanish, all infinitives either end in an AR, an ER, or an IR. And we learned about 30 of them a few weeks ago. So there's actually quite a bit of infinitives you know already. We're just going to add 10 or 11 more to that today. All right, so that's what they all are going to have in common. So we're going to run through some pronunciation, look at some pictures here like we usually do to learn vocabulary. And I want you to practice your pronunciation with me as you hear these words being said. All right, so let's get started here. This is contestar. All right, contestar means to answer, like to answer a question or to answer your phone. You would say contestar. Try that with me, contestar. All right, over here we're still in a classroom setting, enseñar. All right, try that with me, enseñar. Enseñar means to teach. And it's easy to remember this word because look at the last 5 letters, S-E-N-A-R, kind of looks like the word señor, which, what does señor do? Señor teaches. So enseñar is to teach. All right, over here we have llegar. All right, llegar means to arrive. So try that with me, llegar. All right, to need means necesitar in Spanish. So try that with me, necesitar. So hopefully you're seeing this pattern. Again, all of these infinitives, they all end in AR, and they all mean to something, like to need, to arrive, to answer, like we've seen. So these again are called infinitives. All right, that's a good thing. All right, how do we say in Spanish to get a good grade? We say sacar una buena nota. Let's try it. Sacar una buena nota. Now the opposite of that would be sacar una mala nota. All right, to get a bad grade or to earn a bad grade. So try that with me. Sacar una mala nota. All right. Next we have, well, we actually learned correr several weeks ago, so this correr could also work, this person is running, but what we're going to learn today is how do you say to finish, all right? Repeat then, try it with me, terminar. Try it again, terminar. That's to finish something. All right, over here we have a picture of somebody taking notes, so how do we say to take notes? Tomar apuntes, all right? Tomar is to take, apuntes are notes, so tomar apuntes. All right, next we have somebody taking an exam. So to say to take an exam is tomar, that means to take, un examen. So tomar un examen, to take an exam. Let's try it. Tomar un examen. And then we have something not quite as big as an exam, a quiz. Once again, you see the word tomar, to take, tomar una prueba. And a prueba is a quiz. So tomar una prueba. And then we have usar la computadora. And usar la computadora means to use the computer. So try that with me. Usar la computadora. All right, so those are our infinitives. Now, one last word I want to review with you. We learned this word last week. This is a really important word in Spanish that we're going to see a lot, we're going to use a lot. Do you remember how to say it? Remember, the H is silent. I. All right, and what I means is there is or there are. So if we were to say there is a test, hay un examen. If we're trying to say there is a quiz, hay una prueba. If we're trying to say there are many students, hay muchos estudiantes, because it can be singular, there is, or it can be plural, there are. We're going to see this word in several of our activities this week because, again, it's a really important word from last week, but I just wanted to make sure that this word didn't get lost in all the other words we studied. So try that with me again. There is, or there are. So we're going to do some swigs to practice these last few vocabulary words and the word I before we move on to the next part of our lesson. Adios, hasta luego.